Hi guys, Laura here. I'm here today to do my July reading wrap up. I'm doing it a little bit early because of Harry Potter and the Cursed Child coming out on Saturday night or Sunday morning, and I probably won't be back online until after I finished it, which could be August 1st. So I wanted to post this and a couple other reviews before then. I had an amazing reading month in July. I finished reading 13 books, and in the time that I did my other video, I actually finished one, so it's like really 14 books. I started two, and then I finished, well, I finished listening to one audiobook, and then I'm in the middle of another one. So I'm going to hopefully, that's what I want to talk about today, just tell you guys, well, I had a really good reading month, I will admit. It was the first time in a while that I really just had so much time to read and just enjoy myself. So this might be a long haul, a long wrap up, so you might want to grab a snack. The first thing that I finished was actually at the end of June, and it was Catching Jordan by Miranda Keneally. The reason I decided to read this was because I was going to a Miranda Keneally signing at the end of July, and I wanted to at least have read one of her books before I went into it, and it was a really cute read, really quick. It was about this girl named Jordan who was um, one of the first female quarterbacks in the story, and follows her journey and follows her falling in love, falling out of love, and more about the sports history, which I really liked. And it's like a really long series. I got to Penning Taylor, which you guys will see in my upcoming book haul, but hopefully maybe next month I'll get to read a couple of other ones. They're really short, but I think that they deal with really interesting sports related issues, but also really realistic characters, and I overall really like the story, and I gave it 3.5, 4 stars. And then the next thing I read, part of my Tamora Pierce reread that has officially started, is Alana the First Adventurer. I really like this book. I gave this book like 4 stars. I thought it was a really cool world to go into. I liked the characters. I thought the villain in this was a little bit predictable, so that's why I didn't give it a higher rating, just because I felt like not only was the villain a little bit predictable, but the hero's reaction to the villain just annoyed me a little bit. But overall, I really liked it, and I was very excited to continue. I've never actually read Tamora Pierce, so you guys will be seeing a lot of these. And I might do like series mashups at the end, so I have 2 more books left in the series, and then I'll probably do like a series mashup about Alana. And then the next thing that I read was The Au Pairs by Melissa De La. As you guys know, I follow a lot of podcasts, and on one of them they were talking about cute summer reads, and this was one of the hosts said that it was like her favorite summer read. So it bits it up. It's about these 3 girls who wound up being au pairs for the summer for a really rich family in the Hamptons. And the reason I liked it was not only was the story really fun and just like a flirty story, but also the girls were really different. You have one foreign student from like Brazil, you have one small town girl from like Minnesota, and you have one prior to her family's banking issues. She was like the it girl of the Hamptons. So it was like a really interesting dynamics between all the girls, and I really liked the story, and it was just really fun, and it was just a really quick read. It's one of those books that like after a chapter you want to go on. It's very addictive. But I really liked it, and I had a lot of fun reading it. And as you'll see later, I continued on with the series, but I gave this book like 3 stars. It was just a fun, frothy, really fun read. And then the next thing that I read was Unrivaled by Allison. I did do a book review about this, so if you want to check that out on my channel, go ahead. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a brief review about this. Overall, I gave it 4 stars. And the best way to describe this novel is it's like the A-list meets Gone Girl. And basically, it's this book, the story is told from like 4 or 5 different characters' perspectives. And one of the characters is like an A-list movie star who all these other characters who are promoting clubs want to get this girl into their clubs. And it's like a give and take between the club promoters and this girl. And about midway through the book, it's revealed on the front cover, she goes missing. And they don't know if it's like someone tried to hurt her or she did it herself. And you really don't know. And it just like in the midway through the book, she just vanishes. And it kind of sends this whole story on its head. I really liked it. I love like the murder mystery aspect, and I love learning more about the main character that went missing. But I did think that the book was slow in some points, and it was almost getting to the point where it was like, all right, when is the girl gonna go missing? Because we knew it, and it didn't happen for a so there was more of a pacing issue with the novel, but I really liked it, and I'm very very excited for the sequel. Um, because some stuff happened at the end that you're like, now I have to wait. So I wish like the ending was I wish that like the build up was quicker and the ending we had more information. But it was a really, really, really good novel. This is the first thing that I've ever read by Alison Noel. I know she has a lot of books out, but this was the first that piqued my interest, and I got it from my library, so I said why not? And I really liked it. I gave it like 4 stars. Just wish the pacing would have been a little bit better. And then the next book that I got, that I read was Summer of Sloan by Erin L. Schneider. If you guys had watched my Barnes & Noble Fest video, I got this arc from them. Thank you, Barnes & Noble Fest. It was so much fun. And thank you, the Disney Group, for providing the arc. I really like this book. I gave it 4 stars. It's definitely more of an emotional read. I do have a review about this book as well. Definitely more an emotional read. But it's a really, it takes place on the island of Hawaii. And this girl named Sloan winds up going to Hawaii, but has something very, very bad happen to her and her group of friends before she leaves, and it kind of propels her on a summer of self-discovery and adventure and maybe romance, but the relationship with her best friends are really taking a toll on her. So it was a really, really good book. I really, really liked it, and it talks a lot about forgiveness and relationships and a lot about self-discovery. So if you liked a more emotional read, like Katie McGarry or Stephanie Perkins, maybe check this out. It's a little bit more fluffy, but there was definitely a very, very high emotional component to it. And then the next book that I finished was The Statistical Probability of a Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith. I will be doing a video mashup when I finish all her books, so you guys can check that out. It will be up hopefully in the next month and a half. I just have to finish one more. But I really like this. I gave it 3 stars. This book is so short. I think this book is like 230. So it was a good story. I liked the romance. It was about these cute characters named Oliver and Hadley, and they meet on a plane from JFK to London, and they kind of develop this relationship, and it follows them. The only issue I have with this book is it was so short that like you couldn't really get that emotionally invested in the characters because there wasn't enough time. Like, I felt like it was the whole book takes place in 24 hours, so I know it's kind of hard to do that. And I think that's what the character was trying to say. But for me, I couldn't become as emotionally invested in a couple of the other novels I read this year because it was so short. And the ending was a little bit rushed, I thought, and I just wanted to know what happened after the happily ever after, or after the ending, and I didn't get that. But overall, I really liked it. That was really cute, and I was excited to read more of Jennifer E. Smith. And then, as I have been stating before, I have been doing a massive Harry Potter reread, which is why I have been listening to less audiobooks, because you read a chapter and then you listen to a podcast. So that's where most of my listening time has been going for the past couple of months. So I completed reading Harry Potter and The Prisoner of Azkaban. Before I did this reread, this was one of my favorite books in that series, and it still is. I love this book. It's probably one of my favorites. It's probably only below number 7, which I think is probably one of my favorite books of all time. But I really like this. I loved seeing the Time Turner stuff and seeing like the little hints that were placed. I loved meeting Sirius and Lupin, and I loved just seeing all of the interconnections. And I think that this was the last book that was really, really innocent for the characters. I have started reading Goblet of Fire, so I hope to finish that in August, and I'll talk about that in my August book, TBR. And then the next book I read on the same vein as Jennifer E. Smith was the Geography of You and Me. I really like this book. I gave this book 4 stars. It follows Lucy and Owen, and they wind up meeting in a elevator when their elevator gets stuck in New York City. And this relationship kind of catapults them on a year-long relationship via emails or postcards, because Not only does Owen move, but also Lucy moves. Lucy moves away abroad, and Owen moves across the United States of America. So it was such a cool. I really became emotionally invested in these characters. Like, this was the book that I was like, oh my god, I need to know what happens to these characters, and it was so cute. I really, really liked it, and it gave me more than like 24 hours to fall in love with these characters. It gave me like a year. So by the end of this, I was like, oh my god, what is gonna happen? So I really, really liked it, and hopefully maybe one day we'll learn more about these characters, because they were super, super, super fun, and I really, really liked them, and it was a great, great read. And I gave it like 4 stars. And this will also be up in the Jennifer E. Smith mashup once I finish This Is What Happy Looks Like. And then the next book I read was Girl at Midnight by Melissa Gray. The reason I read this was because I was going to a Melissa Gray signing, and I wanted to have her sign it, but I wanted to read something on the train. I really, really like this book. I gave this book like 5 stars. It was such a good fantasy read, and I haven't read fantasy, as you can see, and everything else. I haven't read fantasy in a long time. I'm going to do that in the fall and the winter, which is what I normally do, but I just wanted to read it, and I loved it. I loved the world building. I will have a mashup coming at this once I finish Shadow Hour, so keep an eye out for that. Hopefully it will be in the next 2 months. I know I've been saying that a lot. But I really, really liked it. I love the world building. I love the characters. I love the unexpected twist at the end. It was so, 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 so good. And I am excited to start Shadow Hour soon. And in the same vein of finishing a lot of my Owl Crate books, which I have gone willfully behind on, and these do have a mashup. They are already on my channel, so if you want more information about both of these books, just go into that mashup. So in the April month, we got Flawed by Cecilia Ahern, and this is a dystopian novel. I really liked it. I gave it like 4.5 stars. I always say this, but I really do like dystopian. I think I really enjoy dystopian when it's so realistic it could really happen, and that's what I felt this book. I've said this a few times, but this is a type of book that really needed to be a series, because you spend this whole book like being like building up, and then it catalysts to an end, and then you have to know what happens. So I really, really liked it. It's about this girl named, I pronounce it Cesteline. I could be wrong. And she lives in a society where there's not only a law court where you're accused of being like against the law or being like a criminal, but there's also a moral court. If you do something morally wrong, you could be identified as flawed. And this girl Cesteline winds up making a decision that winds up making her be the most flawed person in history, basically. And it is a really, really complicated, emotionally engrossing novel. There's like a really, really slow burn relationship that I really, really liked, and so slow burn that like you don't even know if it's gonna happen. But I really, 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 really liked it, and I'm very, very excited for Perfect. It comes out next year, 2017, and this is Cecilia's first debut as a YA author, and I really, 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 really like it. So if you want more information, go check out my non-spoiler review about both books. And then the next book was the Owl Crate books for May, and it is Everland by Wendy Spinella. I love this book. I gave this book like 4.5 stars. The only reason I couldn't give it 5 stars was because it was a little bit predictable. There was a couple of things that I kind of predicted, and also I'm still not totally sure if it takes place in the future or the past or the present. It wasn't very, very clear, so that is like an issue I've had a few times this past year when I read Ink and Bone by Rachel Caine, the Great Library series. I had a little problem. So the same exact problem with this book, but overall, I really, really, really liked it. I gave it 4.5 stars. It follows these characters that basically are Everland. You get to meet a Wendy, kind of a Wendy character. You get to meet like Peter Pan and the Lost Boys, and you get to meet a Tinkerbell character. But it is just a really, really cute read. I really, really enjoyed it. It was fast-paced, a little bit predictable at points, but overall I really, really liked it, and I cannot wait for the sequel. And then following the same vein of my Tamora Pierce reread, I read The Hand of the Goddess, which is the second book in the Alana Song of the Lioness series. I like this book a little bit better. I gave it like 4.5 stars. The ending was still a little bit predictable for me, but I overall really liked it. I loved getting to see more of Tom in this novel, and I loved to see the development of the relationship between the Squire in the Night, and I really, really liked it. That was great, and I am excited to read the next two next month. And then after this, I read The Long Game by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is the sequel to The Fixer. When I read The Fixer last year and I really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. This book was so much better. I could not tell you how better this book is. But I tried to see if I had a video on it, and I don't think I do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a review of this, and I'll talk about it in it. But it follows Tess Canick, who is the sister or the daughter, I guess you could say, of the fixer, the political fixer, like Olivia Pope. But this book, I will put a trigger warning. It does have to do with terrorism, and it does have to do with a school shooting. So if you are squeamish about this stuff, maybe don't watch it. Read it, I mean, but it was really, really good. I really liked it. It was fast-paced. I did not see the ending or the twist coming. But if you like Jennifer Lynn Barnes' other series, The Naturals, or you like Scandal, I highly recommend you check it out. The first book is The Fixer. The second book is The Long Game. But I will do a mashup about this hopefully tonight, so I'll put that on my channel. You guys can check it out. But overall, I really liked it. I gave it 5 stars. It was a really, really good read. So I was also babysitting when I finished this book, so I wanted to read something quick and fast, so I started and I finished reading Skinny Dipping, which is the second book in the Au Pair series. I gave this book 3.5 stars. I love the character development, I love the relationship between all the girls, and I just loved seeing how they changed, and it was a really, really fun read, and I really, really liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars. And then this is when my TBR doesn't get completed, but I read so much. I started reading Open Road Summer by Emery Lord, which is another summer contemporary, and I really like it so far. It's about this girl named Delilah, who is a country music singer, and her best friend Reagan winds up going on tour with her. That is all I know so far, and there might be some romance that might be upcoming, but I'm definitely going to finish this in August. The reason I stopped reading this was because my friend Tiffany wanted to read Savage Song, which was my July Owl Crate book, and I wanted to start reading with her, so I am in the middle of this book, and I will definitely be doing a mashup of this when I finish reading the May book, which I can't remember the name right now, but yeah, you guys will definitely get this. So that's all the stuff that I read. In addition, I completed listening to Beyond the Kingdom by Chris Colfer, and that is the 4th book in the Land of Story series. And then I started listening to, because he reads them, Land of Stories, the author's Odyssey, which I'm about 50% done. I really like it so far. It's really, really cute. So that is all of the books that I read in July. I think this is one of my best reading months I've ever had. I will definitely finish reading Savage Song, and I'm probably going to finish reading Cursed Child, so that's going to be the end of it. So I'll talk about that in August, or I'll probably do a non-spoiler slash spoiler review of Cursed Child for you guys. But I hope you guys are having a great day, and stay tuned for my August TBR and my Long Game review. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!